Hello, welcome back. We are going to be continuing on with paper 3, May-June 2017, version 31. We are going to be now doing a data analysis part, so the spreadsheet section. Okay, so task 3, spreadsheets. Okay, spreadsheets, this company here will use a spreadsheet to record hours worked each week and calculate each employee's pay. All currency values are in $2 with 2 decimal places. Now it's really important we know which currency we're working with. Okay, use the most efficient methods to create this spreadsheet. So the most important part of the first section is to work out which currency. So we are going to be working out employees' pay. So we're going to have to use hours worked at some point to work as a point of reference. Okay, so let's look at question 10. Open and examine the file, this file here, so 1731 emp.csv in a spreadsheet package. So we're going to be using Microsoft Excel. Let's locate this file. So this is a file we need to open. So once we open up this file, the first thing we should do is just open up all the columns so we can see all of the data. Okay, so we've got this. Looks like we're going to be using this as a lookup table, and this also looks like a lookup table. So the first thing we should be doing is just having a look. It's only one sheet, so okay, looks like to me we've got 2 lookups. Save this as file as a spreadsheet. So when you're saving this file, make sure, it's really important, you select Excel workbook, because if you save it as a CSV file, you close down and you open up, you will lose your formulas. So you need to make sure you save as an Excel workbook. If we go back to my question, so with a file name 1731emp, so I'm just going to copy this, and your candidate number. Okay, so I've got it here, 1234, that's my candidate number. Save. Okay, I've completed this part. No, that's not what I wanted. Okay. Now we're going to be placing some information into the header. So name, center number, and candidate number center aligned in the header of the page. So to insert a header, you click on insert, you go to header and footer, and we want to, you see you've got a left section, a right section. We need to include this information in the center of the header. So my name, then we double check the question paper, center number, and then candidate number, so 5, 6, 7, 8, comma, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, to get back to the normal view, you click on anywhere in a spreadsheet, any cell, click on view, normal. Okay, let's see what the next question is. On the left in the footer, so let's get into the footer. So insert header and footer, and now I'll click on here to go to the footer. On the left side of the footer, add the text last edited on, followed by today's date and time. So let's include this information, and then today's date and time. So current date, space, time. Again, to go back to normal view, click any cell, go to view and normal. And if you go to the print preview, you should notice your candidate details appear at the top, center aligned in the header on every page. Okay, and in the footer we have the date and we have the time. Okay, so that's completed. So before we continue, let's press save. Okay. Okay, question 11, merge cells A1 to G1. So A1 to G1. So to merge the cells, you can click on this option here, and that makes all of the cells into one cell. So I'm just going to adjust the spreadsheet. Okay. Right. Format this merge cell so that the text is center aligned. So text is already center aligned. White 24 points. Okay, let's just see what the background color is. I'm going to come back to changing the color. Sans serif, so Arial. Whoops. Go back to here. Let's find Arial instead. There we go. That's sans serif. So 24 sans serif. Let's change the color actually. And let's change the background color now so the text will become visible. So it has a dark green background color. Okay, so if we click here, we can select a dark green. Okay, so just before we continue, we've merged the cells, we've formatted so this text is center aligned. Yes. 24 points is the sans serif font, and the color of the font is correct as well. So we can highlight these. I've done this. I can tick that off. Okay. Use cells A5 to B14. So let me have a look. A5 to B14 to create a named range called JC. Okay, so just before I make the named range, you'll notice there's an evidence. So take a screenshot of the creation of this named range and place this into your evidence document. So to name this range, highlight the cells. So from A5, so let me double check. Yeah, A5 to B14, right click and select define name. What you want to do now is change the name to JC, and again I'm going to double check. Yes, it was called JC, and now I will take the evidence as well. So this evidence shows this range of cells in this sheet is now called JC. So let me take a print screen, and it's the last evidence for the evidence document. So let me crop and only show the part that's relevant for this section. And I'll make it bigger as well. So like I said, with every screenshot, just make it as easy as possible for the examiner to see the details of the print screen. This is the last print screen, so I'm going to save this document, and later on I will be printing this document. Okay, so question 13 now. In cell D18, so let me just press OK. So this is now called JC. So in cell D18, so we're in the job descriptions column. Okay. Enter a function to look up a job description for this employee. So this should be a straightforward task. So the job description is here. You'll notice we have a job code. We can also have we have job codes here as well. So do not get confused with looking up these values. These values here do not match with the values in this column here. Okay, so there's a vertical lookup, a VLOOKUP, because we're going to be going down. So I'll start by typing equal VLOOKUP. And like I said, always follow the formula. So I'm going to click up here. So the first thing we're going to be doing, the lookup value. So I can't do anything else until I select a lookup value. So let me click on this cell here, comma, and then I'm going to select the table array. So the information we want to find for the job description is in this table, so the lookup value and the output. Okay, and you'll notice the name has changed to JC, comma, so column index, so in which column is the output for this lookup. So it can't be the first one, that's what we're looking up. So the output is the second column, the job description. So I type 2, comma, and I want an exact match. So for example, if we see G, then we should get graphic designer. Because the first code is X, I'm expecting to see junior web developer in this first cell here. So now I've finished the formula, I'll close the bracket, I'll press enter, and as expected, we've got junior web developer. Okay, P should be PHP programmer, so you should always be checking your formulas as you go along. So I'm just going to replicate. It's going to ask me later to replicate, but we'll do it now. Yep, PHP was for the P code. Okay. In cell G18. So let me look in G18. So G18 is this cell here. Okay. So we're going to be automatically, I know we're going to be working at the pay. Okay. Enter formula to calculate the pay for this employee. This will look up the rate of pay from the pay rates table. So we're going to be using this table here. Okay, so automatically I notice we have A, B, C and D, which matches with the content in the pay code column. So A, C, B, D. I'm not sure if I can see any D's. Do we have any D's in this? Yeah, we have one D up here as well. So it's always important, just look at your Excel and look at where the data is in the Excel. Okay. And multiply it by the number of hours worked. So basically what we're going to be doing, we're going to be, first of all, we're going to be using a VLOOKUP, using this pay code to work out their pay rate. Okay. The second thing we'll have to do is multiply it by that number of hours worked. So the outcome of the VLOOKUP will be multiplied by the hours worked. Okay, this formula must use absolute range and 2 relative references and must not include a named range. Okay. So let's start the formula. So equal VLOOKUP. So what we're looking up, we said we're going to use a pay rates table. So what data is in here and it's here. So it's basically the pay code. It's the same data matches up. This is a relative piece of data because when we drag down the formula, C18 will change into C19 and C20 and so forth. Comma. So let me click up here. And the table array is going to be absolute because this table is going to be locked in. So I'm just going to put dollars in. 1 second. For some reason on my keyboard, whilst I'm recording, I have to put the dollars in separately. On your keyboards, you can use Shift and F4 or Function and F4 depending on your keyboard. Yeah. Not F4, the numbers at the top actually should say. Right, so this is absolute now, so it's going to be locked into position, comma. The column index for the pay rate is the second column, comma, and again we want the exact match. So if you see A, we're going to have 15. So I'm going to close the brackets and I'm going to press enter. So that's the first part done of this formula or function. So A has given me 15, so that part is correct. Now I need to multiply it by the number of hours worked. So this is the second part. So if I click here, star, I have to multiply it by the number of hours worked. So it's this cell here. Again, this cell here will be relative. So these two cells ranges, or this range of cells is absolute. So when I drag down a formula, this will stay in one place. This will be relative, and this will be relative to the position of the cell. So if we're in this cell, it's going to be looking in this cell and in this cell. So if I press enter, and if I drag it down, replicate the function, the formula, and if I click on, for example, this cell here, you'll see the relative, relative, and absolute. This one's not moved out of its position. Okay, so that's completed. If I go down, replicate, I've already replicated. That's basically dragging down the function. Okay, in cell F60, so let me see where F60 is. So F is here. F60 is this cell here. Enter a function to calculate the average number of hours worked by the employees. So equal average hours worked. So we want to basically highlight from this range here to the last cell. You can close a bracket, and this works out the average number of hours worked. Okay, display this to the nearest whole number. Okay, so we basically want to make it into an integer value. So I'm going to go back to the Excel. To make this into a whole number, I'm going to click after the equal and type in int. So int returns a value of let me type in int, rounds a number down to the nearest integer. So okay, because I've opened this bracket here, let me close this bracket, and as you can see, we've formatted it to the whole number. So in cell G61, so let me see where G is. So G61, so this cell here. Enter a function to calculate the total weekly wage. Okay, so equal sum. Oops. And we basically want to add up everyone's salary for the week. Close the bracket and you can press enter. Okay, so that's that done. Right, apply appropriate formatting to your spreadsheet. So if we go up to the top again, so the formatting includes this here. So all currency values are in $2 to two decimal places. So I'm going to start at the top of the spreadsheet. This first of all needs to be formatted into dollars, and by default it's gone to two decimal places. The pay needs to be formatted to two decimal dollars, dollar and two decimal places, and the weekly total as well, so US and then two decimal places. Okay, you'll notice you have a dash here and a dash here. So what we can do, that's because there's no hours worked. If you highlight this, right click, format cells, a further option will appear. Okay, so instead of accounting, let's go to currency. US dollars has been selected and 2 decimal places. Okay, so as you can see, now there was no dashes. Okay, so if that happens, you can right click and go to currency instead. Right, let's have a look at the next question. So apply appropriate formatting, we've just done that, so that's finished. Save and print a spreadsheet showing a formula. Okay, so let's press save, let's go to formulas, let's click on show formulas. So what you want to do is basically make sure all the formulas are visible. So printing like this is a big mistake. Obviously you're going to lose marks if your full formulas are not in view. So let's go down and yep, we can see the full formulas. We're going to print a landscape. We're going to fit it on a single page wide. So if I go to file, if we go to print, let's change to landscape, and we want to fit the sheet on one page. Okay, so as we can see, we've got the header details and the date and time at the bottom as well. Okay, so before we print, we need to make sure all of the data is visible. There's nothing cropped off, and let's go back to the question paper. The row and column headings are displayed. So normally when you're printing formulas, you always have to show the row and column headings. So if you click down and go to custom scaling options, sheet, row and column headings. So typically when you're printing formulas, you include the row and column headings. It makes it easier to identify if the correct formulas have been used. You have the letters along the top and the numbers down the side. The contents of the cells are fully visible, yep. And if you're happy, you can press print. So remember, always wait to receive your printout. Once you've checked your printout, then move forward. So do not move forward, because it may be a case you spot a mistake in the printout. So once you printed, let's take the formulas off. Let's save again. So always wait to receive your printout, just in case there is any mistakes. I don't know why that's. Let's just open up this information again. Okay. Hours work and pay. Right, so that's that task done. And we've printed the first one. Okay. Now we're going to print showing the values. Okay. So I've taken the formulas off. Now we're showing the values. So if we go to file and print, we're going to change to portrait. Fits on a single page. The row and column headings are not displayed. So normally when you do print the values, you don't need to include the row and column headings. So let's go to custom scaling options, sheet. Let's take this off. So like I said, just before we print, just check if all of the data is showing and is visible. Yep, looks fine to me. Contents of the cells. Yep, so I'm happy now to print this off. So I'll go to print and I'll print this off. And again, like I said before, just wait until you receive your printout, check for any mistakes, and then proceed forward if you're happy. Okay, so that's the second printout. You should be putting your printouts in order. So when you receive your printouts, you can decide if you want to. You can write P1 in a corner, so printout 1, and P2, so printout 2. So you can write it into the corner if you wish. Make sure you keep your printouts in the right order. So question 21. Hide rows 3 to 15. So 3 inclusive means to include 15. So I'll just highlight the numbers here. Right click and select hide. hide rows 60 to 61. Okay, 60 to 61. Again, we can highlight and we can select hide. So I've done that. Done this as well. Now extract. So question 22. So extract, it may say extract, it may say filter, it may say interrogate. It's basically the same thing. We need to filter the data. So extract only the employees where the job description includes developer. Okay, so to apply the filter, highlight the top row and select filter. So job description, we want to find any job description that contains developer. So as you can see here, developer appears many times. So text filters contains, we want developer, so DEVELO. So make sure you do spell it correct. Let me just check. And who work more or less than their contract hours. Okay, so just press OK. Okay, and who work more or less than their contract hours. So I'm just going to pause here for 1 second. Okay, I just took a moment to think about this question. So I've completed the first part, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to clear this filter first of all. And let's just take this filter off. I'm going to insert another row or column. Sorry, I'm going to insert another column. Okay, now the reason I'm inserting another column is, let me just write same. Okay, so finding the job description that includes developer, that's quite straightforward, this part. Okay, who work more or less than the contract hours. So what we don't want is people who work in the same. We want to find people who basically worked, let me go back to the question, who worked more or less than the contract hours. So this has to be 11 or more or 9 or less. So what we can do is use a simple if statement. Equal if this is equal value in this cell is equal to the value in this cell, that's a logical test. We can say yes, and we can say no if it's not. Okay, we can drag this down, so replicate this function. So as you can see, the top three have worked the same. This person, hours worked, they've worked less, so that's what we want to find. This person has worked more. So by inserting another column, now we can apply the filter and we can find this the data that we need. So filter, job description, text filters contains, let's type in developer. Okay, we want to select for same, no. So as you can see, these people have either worked more hours or less hours. So we can hide this column, we don't need to show this column. Okay, so we still got the same desired results. So this, we had to think about this question a little bit. So it's a little bit more complicated than normal. Sort this data into ascending order of name. So again, I'm going to highlight the whole table. I'm going to click on here, filter, and select custom sort. So we want to sort by name, and ascending order of name, so leave it as A to Z. Okay, so A to Z. Okay, we're going to print this extract showing the values. Make sure the printouts fits to a single page. The contents of the cells are fully visible. So this is a third printout. So again, we'll go to File and Print, and we can check for the data, and we can see if any data is cut off. So this would be the third printout, so you will send that to the printer. Okay, so let's have a look. So that's the Excel part complete. So let's just first of all check you've got all the printouts. Okay, so the first printout was showing the formulas, landscape, okay, orientation. Okay, when you're printing formulas, it's really important the row and columns headings are displayed. So that's the letters and the numbers. Okay, and especially important when the formulas are being marked, the functions are being marked, the contents of all cells are fully visible. The second printout was the values. Again, it's really important all of the information is shown on the page. And the last printout was with the filtered data. Okay, so includes the description developer and who work more or less than their contracted hours. So that was the third printout. The last printout is the evidence document. So this is the evidence document. So again, the first part of the evidence includes the evidence for the web authoring part, so showing a folder and the files, evaluation, the CSS, the print screen of the page in the browser, and then the HTML code. There's a lot of marks usually found in the HTML code. And then the final print screen was creating the named range. Okay, so at the end of the exam you would save this and you would send this to print. So before you send it to the printer, check if your details appear on every page in the header. In this case, yes, it does. Okay, so, and that's the end of this exam. So there were some tricky elements to this exam, so it's really important you're revising this content and you're understanding. Sometimes you may have to think outside of the box. Sometimes, in particular with this question here, there may be alternative methods of working out the answer. So it doesn't really matter which way you use as long as you get to the right answer. Okay, thank you for your time. Please subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I will be making many more videos in the near future. Thank you very much.